This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Outside the sky-towering city, the battle cries were deafening. The two races soon collided with each other. The entire sky and land were in chaos, with all kinds of battle cries and rumbles. The scene was too shocking, and it was the first time for most of the people to experience it. In addition, the war drums on the city gate tower thundered, and the earth shook. Their blood was immediately set on fire. The entire sky was filled with the tentacles of the anemone race. They were in clusters, each tensed up. From a distance, it looked like a field of cotton. A large number of tentacles had been cut off and scattered in the sky. It was a hazy scene. Yunxiao took out a bronze beast mask and put it on his face, controlling his strength to be at the level of an 8-stars martial supreme. At the same time, he took out an 8th grade saber and followed Li Yunxiao to fight. Li Yunxiao was stunned for a moment and asked in surprise, "Brother Feiyang, what's with your mask?" "I'm too handsome," Yunxiao said. "I don't have any killing intent, so I'm wearing this." He retracted his saber and touched his hair. Lord Feiyang is indeed a fair-faced young man. He's much fiercer now. Elder Yan also brought 2 men and rushed in, he praised. Although the whole scene was chaotic, there was order in the chaos. The humans were all in small teams and small groups to take care of each other, but the sea race was really in a mess. They quickly gained an overwhelming advantage. Out of the corner of his eye, Yunxiao saw Chen Zhongwei come in and fight. Then, he glanced at the top of the main city tower, intentionally or unintentionally, and smiled in his heart as he continued to kill his enemies. The speed of his blade was extremely fierce. It was wide and without any pattern. Every time it hit the shell of the snail tribe, the blade light would break through the shell. This was a firm and fierce fighting style, and it looked like the control of strength was very unstable, sometimes weak and sometimes strong, all in one breath. As the experts on the main city tower watched the battle, they were all overjoyed and wished they could go down and kill as well. Although the scene below was chaotic, the powerhouses could see everyone's condition with a sweep of their divine senses. Yunxiao's beast-faced mask attracted a lot of people's attention at first, but when they looked at him carefully, they found that although his saber techniques were fierce, he lacked the precise grasp of strength. This could only mean that this man's comprehension of strength was extremely poor, and he was not an expert. On the other hand, Luo Tian frowned after looking at it for a while, as if he was thinking about something. Only Liao Yangbing's eyes were filled with surprise and joy. He was sure that the masked man was Yunxiao, and only Yunxiao had the courage to show up so brazenly in front of everyone when the whole world was still hunting him down. Naturally, he would not expose him. He just watched quietly and found that he could not see through the other party's cultivation at all. If he did not know the face under the mask, he would have thought that this was just an 8-star martial supreme like the others. He knew that Yunxiao's purpose in coming here must be for the trip to the East Sea. At this moment, Baiming Lifeng was also in the giant city, but the entire coastline had been blocked for an unknown distance, so he did not know when he would have the chance to go out to sea. The sea race was losing ground in an instant. They abandoned their weapons and armor, and more than half of them were either dead or injured. The 3 martial sovereign commanders were trapped by the human martial sovereigns at the beginning of the battle, and it was extremely difficult to kill them. The ghost eel commander was shocked and angry. A huge sword was placed directly above him, emitting a powerful sword will, covering the space like a net. No matter how he used his thunderbolt divine power, he could not get out. The giant sword was jade green in color and was definitely not made of ordinary metal. It was extremely effective against his lightning, and each time the lightning struck the sword chi, it would immediately be weakened by more than half. "Aren't you very arrogant? Why are you like a stray dog in front of me now?" Ren Zhanxiang's eyes flickered with mockery as his cold voice sounded. It was as if he was looking at a beast in a cage, and there was a hint of pity in his voice. The ghost eel commander roared, "Despicable. What kind of skill is relying on the might of a profound level weapon? If you have the guts, fight me with your own strength." Ren Zhanxiang scornfully mocked, compared to the demon race, our physical bodies are nothing. Compared to the sea race, our numbers are nothing. However, our race has wisdom that you can't match. A gentleman's life is not different. We are just good at pretending. As soon as he finished speaking, green light flew out of his 5 fingers and directly into the giant sword. The sword spun in the air and slowly pressed down. Green sword chi shot out, constantly penetrating the lightning around the ghost eel commander. Not far away, Yunxiao was secretly surprised. The sword was actually made of a legendary item that could suppress lightning, and it was born to restrain all lightning items. Except for the supreme divine thunder of destruction, it could probably restrain all lightning-type divine abilities. The faces of the people of the Jiang family on the main city wall also turned ugly. The body turning into lightning was their secret technique that they would not pass on, especially the thunder escape technique, which was one of the fastest escape techniques in the world. If they were to encounter this sword, they would only be able to get beaten. Luo Tian's eyes revealed a look of admiration and he said, "Everything in the world is complementary to each other. Thunder is the power of the heavens, and I didn't expect that the earth jade could restrain it. This sword made of earth jade is a real treasure." When the people of the Jiang family heard this, their faces turned even gloomier. Now that the internal strife in Red Moon City was intense, and the Four Extremes sect was gradually growing stronger, the existence of this Kuan Jade sword was truly a disaster. As the giant sword of earth continued to press down, the ghost eel commander finally panicked. It tried to break through a few times, but not only did it fail, but it also hurt itself. It was full of regret and blamed itself for being too impulsive. "Human, don't be too extreme. Otherwise, I'll destroy your sword even if I have to die." The ghost eel commander, who was on the verge of death, finally began to go berserk and threatened. Ren Zhanxiang didn't care and sneered, "This sword has existed for thousands of years. I'd like to see how you're going to destroy it." "Damn it!" the ghost eel commander shouted angrily. Although the sea tribe was also afraid of death, they were more courageous than humans. They would not beg for mercy too much. Seeing that the negotiations could not be settled, he immediately activated his Yuan power. Red dots began to appear on his dark and weak body. Those red dots were located on the acupoints of the human body. All kinds of red and green meridians also appeared, connecting all the red dots together. The lightning could be clearly seen circulating in the meridians. Then, runes began to appear on each red aperture. A natural formation body. Yunxiao was taken aback. Some people's body structure contained some kind of array law, which was originally called an innate array body. He sighed inwardly. The human race had obtained supreme wisdom, and their physical bodies were indeed much weaker than the alien races. This kind of natural formation body was rare in the human race, and once it appeared, it would definitely be a treasure. The sect would do its best to cultivate it. And among the sea race, he was just a minor character that didn't matter and could be discarded at any time. As the patterns on the aperture appeared, the body of the ghost eel commander began to twist in all kinds of positions. The array formation also changed constantly. Black lights appeared around its body, condensed and not scattered, but became stronger and stronger. Ren Zhanxiang suddenly realized that something was wrong. The Kuan Jade sword's momentum was stopped, and it couldn't descend any further. He changed his hand seals several times and shot out a few thunder-breaking sword chi. Although they shot into the body of the ghost eel commander, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. There was no ripple at all. Not good. He was shocked and hurriedly used a sword technique to retrieve the earth jade sword. Suddenly, the ghost eel commander's eyes also burst into a red light, and it spat out some obscure and strange notes. The lightning condensed around its body surged, like a slow river, gradually becoming turbulent. Boom. 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 The ghost eel commander didn't make any move, but a few thunderclaps sounded in the air, as if the world was about to change. Boom. Just as everyone was looking around in shock, the Kuan sword suddenly released a dazzling green light and collided with the black light that was rushing up from below. Ren Zhanxiang was extremely anxious. He wasn't the one who created this sword light. Instead, the Earth Jade sword seemed to have met a powerful enemy and its power was stimulated by itself. It was completely out of his control. The two lights collided with each other, and it seemed like neither of them had one. Suddenly, the sky changed color. A black thunderbolt descended from the ninth heaven and struck the huge green light. Bang! The Earth Jade sword was quickly corroded by the black lightning, turning black and escaping into Ren Zhanxiang's body. The Ghost Eel commander was struck by the heavenly lightning, and its power instantly swelled up, turning into a huge fatty. Its eyes were red, and it was bursting with endless anger as it roared, "If you force me to reveal this state, you'll have to die." He opened his mouth and spewed out a black ray of light. It was actually a mixture of thunder and fire, and it charged directly at Ren Zhanxiang. At this moment, the Sea Tribe army was almost completely annihilated. Everyone was looking at the battle over here and immediately retreated in shock, leaving a large open space. Some of the martialists who had escaped too late were touched by the residual light of the lightning and immediately turned into ashes. Ren Zhanxiang's expression changed drastically. The corrosion of the Earth Jade sword had directly affected his state of mind, and his meridians had also suffered minor injuries. Seeing the sky full of thunder and fire approaching, he panicked and hurriedly poured all his origin power into his palm. He opened his right fist and directly punched forward. This palm looked ordinary, but in the middle of the palm, it suddenly turned into afterimages. 1 became 2, 2 became 4, layer by layer, and in an instant, it turned into 32 palms. All the power was compressed to the extreme. Boom! It was as if a spring had suddenly burst open, and the power of the 32 palms was instantly released, slapping out in the air. The power of thunder and fire suddenly retreated and burst out from the surrounding of the palm. Some nearby cultivators were horrified and hurriedly waved their swords to block, but they were injured one after another. 2 people couldn't resist it and screamed on the spot before turning into black charcoal. Ren Zhanxiang didn't even have the time to catch his breath after his palm strike succeeded. The thunder fire that had been blasted away condensed again and came crashing down. He was so angry that his brows furrowed and his eyes bulged. With a loud roar, he also went crazy. His hair stood up, and his left hand turned several times in a row. His right palm repeatedly slapped down as if it was playing with his life. Bang! 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 He used all his strength in each palm and finally scattered the thunder fire. He even slapped the Ghost Eel commander in the air, causing its swollen body to shrivel. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. The Ghost Eel commander was sent flying by the force of the palm. It flew away in an arc like a leaking leather ball. All the human ancient martial art practitioners stepped back to make way for the Ghost Eel commander, for fear that it would bump into them. After all, everyone had seen his terrifying combat power. Even if they guessed that he was an arrow at the end of its flight, no one dared to stop him. Ren Zhanxiang's aura was also greatly weakened, and he seemed to have aged a lot. The chaotic battle palm technique just now was a martial technique that stimulated one's potential, and his entire body was empty after using it. Suddenly, a figure stepped out in the air and caught up with the Ghost Eel commander in a few steps. The blade turned into a giant blade and slashed down directly. Pfft. The Ghost Eel commander was in a semi-conscious state, so it couldn't withstand the man's saber. Its dantian was pierced on the spot, and blood flowed out of its 7 orifices. It was dead. After that, the man took another step, picked up the Ghost Eel commander's body, and put it into the storage mystic artifact. Then, he flew back. Everyone was dumbfounded and couldn't react in time. The man was naturally Li Yunxiao. He walked straight up to Ren Zhanxiang and said with a smile, "My lord, I have killed the Ghost Eel commander for you. Please give me the useless corpse." Ren Zhanxiang's face was pale as he circulated his qi to regulate his breathing. He glanced at the man and didn't say anything, only nodding slightly. Anyone could tell that the corpse was a treasure, but it was not important to him. Moreover, under such circumstances, as a high-level martial supreme, how could he have the nerve to say no and ask for something from a martial supreme? Moreover, the Ghost Eel commander had been killed by the other party with 1 strike. It was only then that everyone came to their senses and gave Yunxiao a strange look, thinking that this man was really bold. But as the saying went, those who were bold enough would get a treasure all of a sudden, which was definitely more precious than the corpse of a 9th-tier demon beast. Bang! Bang! The war drums sounded on the city wall, and everyone cheered. They flew back to the city, leaving behind the corpses of the Sea Tribe. This battle was a complete victory. There were less than 20 casualties, but they had directly annihilated nearly 1,000 Sea Tribe powerhouses. There was also a high-level Martial Supreme and 2 ordinary Martial Supremes. This made Ning Huaishu smile from ear to ear. Everyone's harvest was also quite rich. The bodies of these sea race members were the same as ordinary sea beasts, with inner cores. The shell of the snail clan was also a rare item. Many people collected it, and after the war, they could find alchemists to refine armor and clothes. The entire sky-towering city was in a sea of cheers. Everyone was so excited that they didn't sleep the whole night, talking with fervor and assurance. The battle report was quickly sent to the central camp of the Sea Tribe. All the experts of the Sea Tribe had calm expressions. They didn't have any expressions on their faces. It was as if they had expected this. Guangcheng just kept knocking on the table with his fingers and said indifferently, since the commander of the Ghost Eel clan has died in battle, the Ghost Eel clan should also be incorporated into the attacking team. The rest of the commanders nodded their heads in agreement. After Yunxiao put on the beast-faced mask, he could not take it off, so he returned to a corner of the city with the Battleblade team to rest. No one in the team was injured. Chen Zhongwei seemed to have gotten out of his gloomy state and was in a good mood. Don't get too excited, Yunxiao said. Sit down and regulate your breathing. He had to maintain his condition at its peak at all times so that he could deal with any sudden difficulties. The marine race suffered such a huge loss, yet they didn't make any moves. It's obvious that they have a deeper plan. I'm afraid it won't be so simple next time. Everyone was now full of admiration for him and listened to his words. One by one, they sat on the ground and slowly regulated their breathing. Suddenly, a few powerful auras approached them. The entire team opened their eyes and looked over vigilantly. They saw a row of martial artists standing in front of them. There were more than 10 people in total. They were obviously from another team. Liang Yuanji's face darkened. He recognized their captain and said, "Gan Wuqin, what's the matter?" The other party's captain, Gan Wuqin, grinned, "It's nothing, I just came over to say hello." Brothers, you did well today. A small team of 20 people, everyone's numbers are decreasing as they fight, how come you have one more person? The rest of the people had cold expressions on their faces as they gathered around. With one look, one could tell that they were not friendly. The members of the Battleblade team also pulled a long face. They could tell at a glance that the other party was here to make trouble. They were not good scumbags, so they were not afraid of causing trouble. One by one, they stood up, but Yunxiao remained sitting cross-legged, seemingly unmoved. What does our team's business have to do with you? Liang Yuanji roared, his face full of anger. Gan Wuqin's smile was still on his face, but it was getting colder and colder as he said, "It was nothing much at first. Everyone was very happy about this great victory, but one of our brothers died in battle." Liang Yuanji was baffled and laughed, "Why are you telling me that your brothers have died? Don't tell me you want to poach one of us?" The members of the Battleblade team burst into laughter, their faces filled with mockery. "It's not impossible to poach people," the green-faced man sneered, "but we won't stop anyone who's willing to go with you." Humph. All of you, shut your fucking mouths. Gan Wuqin suddenly roared out, causing everyone to fall silent. Not only that, it also attracted the attention of the other teams, and they all looked over curiously. "Shut your sister. This is the Warblade's territory, all of you fuck off." Not willing to fall behind, Taishida charged forward and shouted. Everyone knew that fighting was not allowed in the city, or they would die without a doubt. So there was nothing to be afraid of. Even if they could fight, they were not afraid. The faces of the people in Gan Wuqin's group changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Teshida. Yuan energy was constantly exploding around their bodies. Not only was Teshida not afraid, but he was also proud of himself. He stretched his head over and provoked, "What, you're unhappy? If you're unhappy, come and hit me. Hit me? If you have the ability, come and hit me." His head was swaying left and right, and his face looked like he was asking for a beating. The members of the Gon Wuqin unit were all furious, and their chests were about to explode. Gon Wuqin's face turned ashen. He was afraid that if this continued, his side would really make a move, and they would definitely be killed on the spot by the people of the Red Moon City. He immediately got straight to the point and said, "I'll cut to the chase. One of our brothers died in this battle, but we didn't get any benefits. You're all safe and sound, but you've obtained the corpse of a high-level martial sovereign of the Sea Tribe. I hope that the brother wearing the ghost mask can share some of the benefits with everyone as a sacrifice to my brother's soul in heaven." It turned out that he was jealous and wanted some benefits. So that's what happened. The warriors from the other teams all showed a look of disdain, but they were also happy that someone would stir up trouble. They could watch the fun and save themselves from being bored in this giant city. Everyone's eyes fell on Yunxiao at once, and the people around him admired his courage to fight on the battlefield. But, even after a long time, Yunxiao still did not move, as if he had entered a meditative state. Liang Yuanji coughed twice before sneering, "It's your business that your brothers died, and it's our business that we get the benefits. Why should we compensate you?" Gon Wuqin snorted. "Brother Yuanji, I don't like what you're saying. What is the point of everyone risking their lives together? Don't tell me you're Martial Emperor Lei Feng's successor and you're only trying to benefit others without even looking out for yourself." Liang Yuanji replied, "Of course not. However, my brother's benefits were obtained through his own wisdom and strength. He also took a great risk. Under such circumstances, who would dare to go forward and kill the Ghost Eel commander?" Everyone nodded slightly in agreement. At that time, there were many people who had the opportunity to kill the Ghost Eel commander, but no one dared to make a move. "Does that mean my brother died in vain?" Gon Wuqin snorted coldly. At this moment, Yunxiao finally opened his eyes and looked puzzled. "I've said so much, but I still don't understand. What does your brother's death have to do with me? Besides, even if there's compensation, it should be for your brother's family." "What do you mean by compensation?"
Yeah.
"What's the point of compensating you? Even if there are benefits, I shouldn't have given them to you." The people around them started to shout. Everyone was a temporary team and they were not related to each other. Gon Wuqin's face reddened as he snorted angrily, "We're all brothers, we're family." Yunxiao did not refute, but nodded and said, "I understand. But shouldn't you go to the Lord of the Red Moon City and propose compensation? I believe that the Lord of the Red Moon City will definitely compensate you generously." "Bah. Counting on them? They're all misers, the only thing they know is how to trick people into working for them." Gon Wuqin cursed. He had experienced a few battles and was filled with anger towards the Red Moon City. "What's the matter? What are you all doing here?" Suddenly, a loud shout was heard, and a wave of Emperor Qi of the Nine Heavens came down from the sky, pressing down on everyone. Everyone's expression changed drastically, and they didn't dare to answer. A man in a long robe appeared in front of everyone. His cold eyes swept across everyone and he said in a cold voice, "Are you guys causing trouble?" "No, I didn't." Gon Wuqin was shocked and quickly shook his head in denial. "Humph." The man snorted heavily. "Don't let me find out that you're causing trouble, or you know the consequences." "Absolutely not, absolutely not." Gon Wuqin revealed an unsightly smile, his forehead covered in cold sweat. "Don't worry, sir. We're only here to discuss some matters, not to cause trouble." Yunxiao suddenly said, his voice extremely sincere. The man glanced at him, and his eyes swept over the beast-headed mask. He naturally recognized that this man was the one who had killed the Ghost Eel commander. He gave a soft "oh" and asked casually, "Discuss what?" Yunxiao said, "Let's discuss the matter of Red Moon City." This Lord Ganwuqin just said that all the lords in Red Moon City are misers, and that the second elder is a stingy ghost who only knows how to trick others into working for him. I'm new here, so I wonder if it is true. In short, after I heard it, the morale has already fallen to the bottom.